So um, imagine getting knocked out of the biggest global sporting event on Earth.
Right.
And not because your team actually lost a game.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Right. But imagine losing because one of your midfielders got a yellow card for a jersey tug.
Oh, man.
It's a random jersey tug in the 89th minute of a game, 3 days ago.
It's brutal. It really is.
Or imagine a professional baseball team essentially surrendering a matchup before the first pitch is even thrown.
Yeah, just completely punting the game.
Exactly. Because their bullpen is just so depleted, they are actively serving up predictable fastballs.
Right.
Like, just to save whatever arms they have left for tomorrow.
Right. It's not even a fair fight at that point.
No, it isn't.
Right.
And this isn't some theoretical thought experiment for us today. Across the global sports landscape right now, the basic math of how we measure winning is just completely broken.
It really is. I mean, we are watching the fundamental architecture of these games just buckle.
Yeah.
It's buckling under the weight of sheer attrition and these massive expanded formats.
So, welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. We are looking at a massive stack of sources today.
A very chaotic stack of sources.
Seriously, we are capturing the state of sports as of June 24th, 2026. And the through line connecting all of this, well, it's chaos.
Pure chaos.
We have the unprecedented mathematics of a 48-team World Cup, which is forcing teams to play at just breakneck speeds.
Yeah, they have no choice.
We've got a brutal wave of Major League Baseball injuries, turning dugouts into basically actual triage centers.
Like a hospital ward, yeah.
Right. And then we have historic performances in the WNBA that are born entirely out of necessity. So our mission today is to cut through all of that noise.
We have to. The surface numbers don't make sense anymore.
Exactly. We're going to show you exactly how this level of attrition completely changes how teams play on the field.
And crucially, how the market actually evaluates them off of it.
Right.
Because if you're just, looking at the names on the front of the jerseys.
Or checking the basic win-loss records.
Yeah, exactly. If that's all you do, you are completely missing the actual story of what's happening. Survival in modern sports requires a totally different analytical lens.
Which is exactly why today's deep dive is sponsored by GhostPicksATS.com.
Absolutely.
If you want to actually understand this chaotic landscape, analyzing the underlying data is like your only lifeline.
You really have to look past the surface to find real, actionable insight.
And that is exactly what we are doing for you today. So let's start right in the middle of the blender.
The World Cup.
Yes, the expanded 48-team World Cup. FIFA added 16 more teams to this tournament.
Which is a massive jump.
Huge.
Yeah.
And instead of diluting the product, which I think a lot of people expected.
Right, people thought it would be boring.
Yeah. But it has actually acted like this massive tactical pressure cooker.
It has fundamentally altered the pace of the sport because the talent pool is stretched, right?
Right.
And the margin for error in the group stage is so razor thin with these new tie-breaking scenarios. So teams literally can't afford to slowly feel each other out.
They just have to go.
Yeah, they have to attack the second the referee blows the whistle.
And the numbers back that up in a truly absurd way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at match day 3, well, actually, the crazy speed records were shattered back on match day 2.
Oh, the speed was unbelievable.
You had Morocco's Ismail Saibari scoring in 71 seconds.
71 seconds into a World Cup match.
I barely have time to sit down with my drink in 71 seconds.
Seriously.
And you think, okay, wow, that is definitely the fastest goal of the tournament.
You would think so.
No.
Yeah.
Literally hours later, Paraguay's Matias Galarza scores in 65 seconds against Turkey.
The records aren't even lasting a full day.
No, it's just wild.
And while that frantic pace is sort of defining the new generation of players, it's also happening right alongside these massive legacy milestones.
Oh, yeah, like Messi.
Right, you have Lionel Messi scoring his 18th all-time World Cup goal.
Which officially bypasses Miroslav Klose for the ultimate record.
Just incredible. And you have a 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo. I know. Scoring in his 6th distinct tournament. Which is really just a testament to the sheer physical defiance of aging.
Totally. And then Canada secures a historic 6-0 win over Qatar, driven by a Jonathan David hat-trick.
So many milestones.
Okay, so the milestones are great for the history books. But for anyone actively tracking this tournament, the absolute wildest subplot right now is the third-place bubble.
Yes, this is where the math gets crazy.
Let's break this down for the listener because it's complicated. We have 12 groups of 4.
Right.
The top 2 teams from each group automatically advance.
Okay, simple enough.
Right. But that leaves 12 third-place teams fighting for only 8 remaining spots in the round of 32.
It is this massive high-stakes bottleneck.
It is. How do analysts even begin to separate a dozen teams that are, inevitably going to finish with identical records?
Well, this is where we get into the mathematical labyrinth that FIFA has created.
Labyrinth is a good word for it.
To prevent teams from colluding in the final games, the tie-breaking rules are exhaustively layered.
Okay, walk us through it.
Obviously, if points are tied, the very first tiebreaker is head-to-head points,
Sure.
followed by head-to-head goal difference, and then head-to-head goals scored.
Wait, right, but these third-place teams are coming from completely different groups.
Exactly.
They haven't played each other. So all of those head-to-head metrics are completely useless? What happens then?
Right. So then you move to the macro metrics.
Okay,
Overall group goal difference.
makes sense.
If they are still tied, it goes to overall goals scored across all 3 of their matches.
Okay, I'm with you.
But if, by some mathematical quirk, we have 2 teams completely deadlocked on goals scored and goal differential,
Which happens.
it does. It falls to the team conduct score.
Hold on, let me stop you right there. The team conduct score.
Yep.
You're telling me a nation's World Cup dreams could be crushed because, a guy got a yellow card for kicking the ball away after the whistle?
That is exactly what I'm telling you.
That feels less like a world-class soccer tournament, more like a middle school citizenship award. It really does.
How on earth can you objectively decide advancement on that?
I mean, it is incredibly controversial, but it is the actual rule. Every single yellow and red card docks points from your conduct score.
Wow.
So it forces teams to literally police their own aggression, knowing that a tactical foul could literally send them home.
That is immense pressure.
And if, by some miracle, they are perfectly tied on their conduct score as well.
Don't tell me they draw straws.
Close. FIFA just defaults to the overall world rankings to decide who moves on.
That is wild.
So right now, as we look at the data, teams like Sweden and Scotland are sitting pretty at the top of that third-place bubble with 3 points each.
Okay, so they're in decent shape.
But down at the bottom, a team like Senegal has 0 points and a -3 goal differential. They are mathematically gasping for air.
So if you are looking at the slate of games today, your first instinct as a listener is probably just to look at the superstars, right?
Right, of course. But understanding this palpable desperation among the lower-tier teams, combined with the massive talent gaps of a 48-team field.
It completely shifts the way the market handles risk.
Exactly.
Because when a desperate team plays a relaxed powerhouse, the surface-level odds become totally skewed. Sportsbooks actually love it when the public bets heavily on these massive favorites.
Oh, they thrive on it.
Because the risk-to-reward ratio is just terrible for the bettor.
Which brings up the second mention of our sponsor, GhostPicksATS.com. Navigating a board full of these heavy mismatches requires looking way past the money line.
You really can't just throw your money at a huge favorite and hope for the best.
Precisely. Let's look at the data on Scotland versus Brazil today.
Oh, this is a great example. Brazil is a massive favorite. They just dropped 3 goals on Haiti in a flawless performance.
So everyone is betting on Brazil.
Exactly. Public bettors often do what we call eating the full price on these favorites.
Meaning what exactly? For the listener.
It means they will risk a huge amount of money just to win a tiny fraction back. Because betting Brazil to win feels like a guaranteed outcome.
It feels safe.
Right. But sure analysts know that is a trap. They look elsewhere for value, specifically in the tactical mechanics of the matchup.
Okay, walk us through the mechanics then. If I'm not betting on Brazil to just win the game outright, what am I actually looking for?
You look at how Scotland has to play to survive.
Okay.
Scotland's defense is notoriously stubborn, right? And packed tightly in the center.
Right.
They know they can't match Brazil's technical skill in the middle of the pitch, so they're going to put all their bodies in the penalty box and force Brazil to beat them from the outside.
Okay, so they concede the wings.
Yes, that means Brazil's world-class wingers, Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha, are going to have the ball all game on the touchlines, constantly serving crosses into a crowded box.
And when you launch crosses into a wall of defenders, those crosses get blocked.
And deflected.
And deflected crosses turn into corner kicks.
Exactly. So the sharp data doesn't say bet Brazil to win. It says Brazil is going to generate an absurdly high volume of corner kicks.
Ah, that makes so much sense.
Furthermore, because of this relentless wide pressure, there is a heavy market expectation for Brazil to cover a -1.5 goal spread. or for Vinicius Jr. to score.
Simply because he is going to have dozens of isolation opportunities on the wing.
Exactly. You have to bet on the mechanism of the game, not just the outcome.
That is brilliant. You're betting on the physics of the matchup.
Exactly.
Now, let's look at Czechia versus Mexico. This is a fascinating one because Mexico has already qualified.
Right. They're safe.
They haven't conceded a single goal all tournament, and they're playing in front of a heavily partisan crowd at the Azteca.
It's going to be loud.
Very loud. And Czechia, meanwhile, is absolutely desperate for points.
Yeah, and this specific game is causing a massive split in the analytical models. It all comes down to risk perception and motivation.
How so?
Well, one model anticipates a very low-scoring game, an under 2.5 goals scenario. The logic there is sound. Mexico has zero incentive to risk injury.
That's true.
So they might rest their key starters, drop into a comfortable defensive shell, and just coast to a 0-0 or 1-0 finish, since they have already locked up their advancement.
But I'm guessing the other model sees Czechia's desperation as the ultimate wildcard.
Exactly. The opposing model projects an over 1.5 total goals scenario. The argument is that Czechia can play defensively for the first 60 minutes, but eventually the clock is going to force their hand.
They have to push forward to get a goal.
Right. And when you are a lesser talented team pushing numbers forward, you expose your defense.
Yeah, you leave massive gaps.
And Mexico's roster, even their bench players, are incredibly fast. The model predicts that when Czechia opens up to chase the game, Mexico will just effortlessly counterattack and score late.
It is a brilliant example of how desperation actually creates vulnerability.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's look at one more soccer matchup before we move on, because this one is a pure clash of styles. Switzerland versus Canada.
Oh, this one is interesting.
You have Canada flying high after a 6-0 win, facing a very structured Swiss team.
And the data projection here is incredibly specific. The models project a high card game.
High card.
Specifically, over 3.5 total cards.
Wait, really? Is there bad blood between these two teams? Like, why would we expect so many yellow cards?
It actually has nothing to do with bad blood.
Yeah.
And everything to do with tactical necessity.
Okay, explain that.
Canada relies heavily on transition threats. They have sheer, overwhelming pace, especially with players like Jonathan David.
Right, he's incredibly fast.
Switzerland, led by their captain Granit Xhaka, plays a totally different game. They prefer slow, methodical possession and control.
So what happens when Switzerland turns the ball over?
That is the friction point. When Canada wins the ball and breaks on a counterattack, Switzerland simply will not have the speed to catch them.
Ah, I see.
Xhaka is famous for understanding the math of the pitch. He knows that if he lets Canada run, they score.
So he just takes them down.
Exactly. He turns the midfield into a gritty rock fight. He and the Swiss defenders will actively choose to commit tactical fouls.
Like grabbing a jersey.
Or tripping a player at midfield, just to stop the break before it becomes a scoring chance. Taking a yellow card is a mathematical choice to save a goal.
Wow.
And the market is pricing in the fact that Switzerland will have to do this at least 4 times to survive Canada's speed.
That is such a brilliant way to watch a game. You aren't watching for goals. You are literally watching for a team deliberately breaking the rules as a survival tactic.
Exactly.
But, you know, we are seeing how these soccer teams manipulate tactics to survive a short 3-game sprint. Survival looks completely different when you zoom out to a 162-game marathon.
Oh, completely different.
In Major League Baseball right now, survival isn't about goal differentials or tactical fouls. It is simply about fielding a healthy roster.
The war of attrition in baseball right now is just staggering. It alters the fundamental calculus of every single series.
It really does.
You aren't analyzing team versus team anymore. You are analyzing who is left standing.
Let's run through the casualty list because it genuinely reads like a disaster report.
It's bad.
The New York Mets have their superstar Juan Soto listed as day-to-day with left side back tightness.
Huge blow.
The Los Angeles Dodgers, a team built to be this invincible juggernaut, are missing Kyle Tucker to back spasms, Will Smith to a stiff neck, and Teoscar Hernandez to a hamstring strain.
And it isn't just the slow, grinding wear and tear injuries either. You have horrifying acute moments on the field.
Yeah, the terrifying stuff.
Like the Cincinnati Reds just lost Nick Lodolo because he took a 107.6-mile-per-hour line drive straight to the wrist.
I saw that replay. It was awful. And then you look at the Chicago Cubs. Their pitching rotation is beyond a crisis. It is an active emergency.
Guys.
Edward Cabrera had to be carted off the field while simply trying to cover first base.
Yeah.
He suffered a hamstring and adductor strain.
Just a routine play.
Right. And Craig Counsell, their manager, stood in front of the press and admitted their rotation is a, quote, puzzle.
Which is a very polite way of saying he has no idea who is throwing the baseball tomorrow.
Exactly. Considering Jamison Talon, Cade Horton, and Justin Steele are already sitting on the injured list.
It's a nightmare.
So let me challenge you on this from a data perspective. When a team's bullpen is absolutely decimated like the Cubs or the Astros, how do opponents actually exploit that mathematically?
Good question.
It can't just be that the hitters lick their chops and swing harder because of bad pitchers on the mound.
No, absolutely not. Swinging harder is how you strike out.
Right.
The way you exploit a depleted bullpen is through what we might call the contagion effect of depth pitching.
The contagion effect.
Yeah. When injuries force a team to dig deep into their minor league system or rely on guys who usually only pitch the 7th inning to suddenly start a game.
Which changes their whole routine.
Right. It fundamentally changes the pitch sequencing. Let's use tonight's matchup between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Houston Astros as the perfect laboratory for this.
Okay, let's set the table. The Blue Jays are sending a 22-year-old rookie, Craig Savage, to the mound. He's got a respectable 3.76 ERA.
Okay.
The Astros, who are dealing with immense pitching depth issues, are countering with Mike Burrows, who is carrying a heavy 5.79 ERA.
Now, you have to look at the underlying trend lines to see the contagion effect.
Okay, what do the trend lines say?
Astros pitchers, as a collective staff, have surrendered an astonishing 15 home runs in their last 10 games.
Wait, 15 home runs in 10 games?
Yes. They are bleeding power.
That means they're routinely serving up multiple long balls a night.
Exactly. And on the flip side, the Toronto Blue Jays offense has hit exactly 15 home runs in their last 10 games.
Oh, wow.
They are slugging .451 as a team in that specific span. So you have a decimated pitching staff that is prone to giving up power, facing an offense currently riding a massive power surge.
It's like a casino card counter, sitting down at a blackjack table with a nervous rookie dealer.
That is a great way to put it.
The Blue Jays hitters know these depth arms being called up from the minors don't have an elite put-away slider that they can throw for a strike when they are behind an account.
Right, they don't have that out pitch.
So the hitters don't panic. They just sit back, take a few pitches, and wait for the inevitable 2-0 fastball right over the middle of the plate.
It's not about swinging harder, it's about predictable probabilities.
Right.
These depth pitchers get behind in the count because they lack elite command. And because they don't want to walk the batter, they throw a fast, straight pitch over the middle of the plate to try and reset the count.
And major league hitters feast on that exact sequence.
They do. The injuries create a mathematical compounding effect where bad command leads to predictable pitches, which leads to extra base hits.
That makes total sense.
You will not find good analytical value betting on the Astros to win a low-scoring, quiet game tonight. The data screams that Toronto is going to be hunting for fastballs.
It is a totally different way to appreciate baseball. You aren't just watching a batter hit a home run. You're watching a systemic failure of a team's health being exposed by a disciplined offense.
Exactly.
But while injuries create these massive exploitable gaps for a team, they also create incredible career-defining opportunities.
Someone has to step into that void.
Exactly. And that brings us to the WNBA.
Oh, the WNBA landscape right now is a masterclass in watching players step into the void and completely redefine their value to a franchise.
Let's talk about Sonia Citron of the Washington Mystics.
What a week she had.
The league just named her the Kia WNBA Eastern Conference Player of the Week. And frankly, I don't think Player of the Week quite captures what she just did.
No, it really doesn't. She didn't just string together a few good shooting nights. She essentially put the entire franchise on her back.
She led the Mystics to a massive 3-game win streak against top-tier competition: Connecticut, New York, and Minnesota.
That is a brutal stretch of games.
Over that stretch, she averaged 21 points, 6.7 rebounds, 4.7 assists, and 2 steals per game.
Those are elite MVP caliber averages.
Right. But the true masterpiece, the game that analysts will be studying all season, was her performance against the New York Liberty.
Oh, the stat line is unbelievable.
Against New York, Citron dropped a stat line that almost looks like a typo: 16 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 combined blocks and steals.
Just incredible. To put that in historical context, achieving 15 or more points, 5 or more rebounds, 5 or more assists, and 5 or more blocks and steals in a single game.
Yep.
That is the very first time that specific threshold has been crossed in the entire 2026 WNBA season.
Wait, let me stop you because I really want to understand the mechanics of that.
Okay.
I understand how a guard gets points and assists. That's her job.
Right.
But how does a perimeter player rack up 5 blocks and steals against a team like the Liberty without totally compromising her own team's defensive structure?
Well, that is the genius of her performance. To get 5 blocks and steals as a guard, you cannot just play standard, stay in front of your man defense.
You can't just be a wall.
Exactly. You have to actively read the opposing offense, abandon your designated assignment, and jump into the passing lanes.
Which is a massive, calculated gamble.
It's a huge gamble. Citron realized that the Mystics were grinding, they were fatigued, and they desperately needed extra possessions.
So she took matters into her own hands.
Yeah, she started blowing up the Liberty's offensive sets before they could even develop. She wasn't just reacting to the ball, she was dictating where the ball could go.
It's like finding a completely hidden gear in an engine you've been driving for years.
Great analogy.
The team is exhausted, they're facing a juggernaut in New York, and Citron just assesses the void, takes these massive defensive risks that actually pay off, and pulls the entire team forward.
And while she is surging and finding that new gear, the rest of the league is desperately shuffling their rosters, trying to manufacture that exact same spark.
Like the Fever.
Look at the Indiana Fever. They're listing Caitlin Clark as available to play despite a lingering back issue.
Why push it, though?
Because even if she isn't shooting perfectly, her sheer gravitational pull on the defense opens up the floor for everyone else. They need her presence to survive.
Her gravity is that strong.
Meanwhile, the Chicago Sky are dealing with the loss of veteran Courtney Vandersloot to a right knee injury.
That's a tough loss for them.
Very tough. In response, they immediately waived Sailor Poffenbarger, clearly trying to clear roster space to bring in a new rotational piece to stop the bleeding.
It is a constant, ruthless reshuffling of the deck.
It never stops.
And identifying those breakout performances, spotting a player like Sonia Citron figuring out the matrix before the rest of the league catches on, is what separates the casual fans from the true analysts.
Exactly.
Which makes it the perfect time to give our final shout-out to GhostPicksATS.com. Whether you are looking at WNBA breakout stars, MLB pitching disasters, or World Cup corner kicks, GhostPicksATS.com provides the data you need to spot those hidden gears before the market reacts.
Because as we've seen today across 3 completely different sports, the surface narrative is almost always a distraction.
So let's bring it all back together and recap the ground we've covered today.
We covered a lot.
We started with the mathematical labyrinth of the 48-team World Cup, where nations are literally praying that their conduct score and lack of yellow cards keep them alive in a chaotic third-place bubble.
Which is still hard to believe.
We dug into the analytical angles of heavy soccer favorites, explaining exactly why you look at tactical fouls and corner kicks instead of risking your money on a heavily juiced money line.
Right.
We waded through the absolute war of attrition in Major League Baseball, mapping out the contagion effect of a decimated bullpen and how offenses wait for predictable fastballs.
Just hunting for the two-zoo pitch.
Then finally, we broke down Sonia Citron's historic risk-taking defensive masterclass in the WNBA.
So the primary takeaway you should have from all of this data is that true insight comes from looking at the mechanisms of survival.
The mechanisms, yeah.
Whether it is Granit Xhaka utilizing tactical fouls to stop a faster Canadian team, the Toronto Blue Jays hunting for minor league fastballs, or a young WNBA guard abandoning her assignment to jump a passing lane.
All connected.
The box scores tell you who won, but the underlying data tells you how they managed to survive.
And that brings us back to where we started today. The idea of the basic math of winning being broken.
Yeah.
Think about how these expanded tournament formats like this new 48-team World Cup actually mirror the grueling survival of the fittest reality of a 162-game baseball season.
It's a really interesting parallel.
When the format allows so many teams to advance, and simply surviving as the, quote, 8th best third-place team is rewarded just as much as dominating your group.
Yeah.
Does it permanently change the DNA of the sport?
That's the big question.
Does it shift the focus away from a pure tactical quest for excellence and turn it into a mere battle of attrition? Are we no longer watching to see who is the best, but simply watching to see who can survive the blender the longest? That is something for you to ponder until next time.